Hello everybody, welcome back to Tiger Tales, a place where you listen to me reading my fanfiction to you guys, written by me and read by me, your host, Tai Tiger. So, all of the properties on this channel are not connected by their source material and don't infringe on copyright. Today we're going back to Power Rangers Future Foundation, where in the last chapter, the new Black Ranger of Mighty Morphin Dante and the new Yellow Dino Thunder Ranger Chloe got into their first big fight with a lizard-like monster, but it didn't go so well with them, and we ended with the introduction of the Blue Ranger. So chapter 4 was the Blue Ranger's chapter, and we met the Blue Time Force Ranger who called Luca, and we ended that chapter with him diving into the fight. So we linked the end of chapter 4 to the end of chapter 3, and chapter 5 is where we are now. So let's dive in. Chapter 5. New team, new weapons, new dangers. The Blue Time Force Ranger dived into the small army and sliced 2 cogs down. Then with a kick and a block and another slice, a putty went down. Dante and Chloe watched as the new ranger mowed down the foot soldiers with his 2 chrono weapons. "It's another ranger," Dante muttered. "And he's got 2 sabers," Chloe muttered. "Do we have weapons?" Dante asked. "No, I have no idea," Chloe said, as she dropped to her knees watching the Blue Ranger drop the foot soldiers to the ground. "Look, we've got to help him," Chloe said. Dante nodded in agreement. Chloe stood and pressed her morpher. "Dino Thunder, power up! Ha!" she called out. Within a flash, the light, she was in her ranger gear. Dante placed his hand in his pocket and found his morpher. He pulled it out and held it tight. "She disappear when you need charging." "That's fair," Dante muttered. He held out his morpher. "Mastodon!" he yelled. Then the Black Ranger, he then dived in to help. "Hey, thanks for the backup." The Blue Ranger bowed. "Not that it's needed." "Are you always this cocky, or is it just because of the woman present?" the Yellow Ranger grunted. "If you are as pretty, then maybe I'll stop being so cocky," the Blue Ranger smirked. "Can you two stop flirting?" the Black Ranger snapped. "Hey, question. How did you summon your sabers?" the Yellow Ranger asked as she kneed one of the cogs in the chest. "Experience, maybe?" the Black Ranger mocked. "Actually, this is my first time properly morphing," the Blue Ranger admitted. "What?" the Black and Yellow Ranger called in unison. "It's true," the Blue Ranger chirped as he spun around, cutting through several foot soldiers at once, dive kicking another one. "Look, just think about your weapons and they should appear. That's how I did it," the Blue Ranger told them. "You're the Yellow Dino Thunder Ranger. Your weapons are the Patera grips," the Black Ranger told the Yellow Ranger. "Oh yeah, I remember now," the Yellow Ranger said. She stood still for a few seconds. "Patera grips," she muttered. Suddenly, she was holding 2 daggers resembling the Pterazord. "Oh yeah, that works," she called out. She instantly started slashing enemies down. "Okay, looks like it's my turn." "Okay, Adam's weapon was the power axe. Let's try this," he muttered. "Power axe," he called out. He then looked down and he's carrying a heavy axe in his hand. "Yeah, it works. Thanks, new guy," the Black Ranger chirped with glee. The 3 Rangers, all armed up with their new weapons, made quick work of the foot soldiers. After the battle, the 3 Rangers demorphed, and Dante and Chloe introduced themselves to Luca. Then they led the new guy to the dojo. They all got comfortable in the apartment above the dojo and started chatting. "So, how are you related to Lucas?" Dante asked. "What?" Luca responded. "How did you figure that?" Chloe asked. "That is a chronomorpher," he said. "He found it, and the Masters gave him the Time Force powers, but he also just put it on. The chronomorph has a DNA lot, which means he has to have the DNA of the Blue Ranger, the original one," Dante told her. "He's my father," Luca muttered. Both Dante and Chloe both looked at Luca. "Wait, who's your mother then?" Chloe asked. Luca stopped himself before he answered the question. He wasn't ready to tell the 2 other Rangers that his grandfather was once an evil tyrant mutant known as Rancic. "She's nobody. I mean, she died when I was born," Luca lied. "Sorry about that, man. I lost my dad a few years ago," Dante told him. "Thanks," Luca nodded. So we have 3 Rangers with different powers recruited by the Morphing Masters. They want us to stop a new evil. We know there are cogs and putties back with a lizard-like creature running around who has a higher master, Chloe explained. "Yeah. Whoever is the big bad, they know what they're doing." and they are strong. They also hurt the Morphing Masters, Luca commented. So let's paint this picture. Big Bad, as we're just going to call it, attacking Morphing Masters. They panic, revive a whole bunch of powers quickly, find new people to use those powers, and make them shift a new team to fight the new bad guy? Luca also questioned. Doesn't sound too far-fetched, does it? Chloe asked. But it can't just be us, right? There are more Rangers, surely? Luca questioned. Well, that's where this comes in handy, Dante said. He pulls out a small remote and pushes a button. One side of the room started shifting and the wall slid to one side, revealing a big TV screen. All three of them stood and surrounded the big screen. Dante pushed the small remote once again. So I had 3 days to work till Chloe got here, so I uploaded everything I could on this computer. Adam Park, my sensei, and the second Mighty Morphin Black Ranger kept a logbook on potential rangers. I had a folder on here, so did Chloe. The Time Force Rangers have their own folder with potential recruits. It doesn't have your name, but it did say the Blue Ranger did have a kid, so I'm assuming that would be you, Dante explained. Does that folder say the Red Cornish Ranger? Thought Cornish was a type of pasty, Luca asked with a smirk as he pointed to one of the folders. A few rangers spawned around the multiverse. England has the Cornish Ranger. There's now a guardian for the old power coins from another universe. Her sister tried to kill her or something. There's a few new teams, actually. Digital Beast, Cyberforce, Ultra Rangers, which is an alternate universe of Adam and stuff. Different universes have different rangers. Adam kept an eye on all of them. Well, our Adam kept an eye on all of them. A lot of them, anyway, Dante told them. Luca just looked and Chloe and shrugged. Anyway, let's get back to our universe. There are some Rangers' names, and I have 2 names I don't recognise, Dante explained. So we need a team, right? Why can't we call Tommy or Andros? Where are the older Rangers? We can ask, right? Like Casey, he still works in the zoo, doesn't he? We can't just do this by ourselves, Chloe blurted. Okay, so I had the same thought, and over the last few days, I've been trying to get hold of some of the older Rangers that are still active, and I don't know, I've gotten nowhere. No one answered. Casey's manager said he hasn't been seen in a week, Dante told them. What? Chloe blurted. Wait a minute. What about the Time Force Rangers? Chloe asked Luca. Yeah, you're forgetting. The Masters just brought me here so they wouldn't have so I wouldn't have to steal tech. I would have to steal a time machine, one of the time machine ships, and I'm not allowed to do that, Luca muttered. Everyone sighed. Okay, look. How about we just check out the other 2 folders so we don't that we don't know the name of? Chloe suggested. Dante agreed, but before he could do anything, a warning alert appeared on the screen. What's that? Luca called out. I made a signal go off whenever there's a massive amount of energy collection building in a pinpointed location, Dante explained as he pulled up the keyboard and started typing. The screen became a map of the town and it zoomed in and revealed camera footage from the park. On the screen, the 3 new rangers could see the lizard monster from before, attacking the children and their parents. Police officers started aiming their pistols and screaming for the lizard to stand down, but the monster just unleashed a lightning attack to the officers. The cars exploded, the officers were thrown off their feet. We have to help them, Chloe growled. Yeah, I know. I'm going now, Dante said. Hey, I'm coming too, Chloe said with determination. Okay, Dante muttered. They both looked at Luca. Hey, I'm with you guys. Those monsters sent, those Morphing Masters sent me here to stop monsters and help you guys. I'm here for a reason. And right now, I ain't got a way to go home. So, I'm all in, Luca told them. Dante nodded and they all ran out the door and headed for the park.
If you're enjoying what Tai is doing, then why not check out me, the Red Cornish Ranger. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube and Twitch under the Red Cornish Ranger. And also check out my new podcast, The Red Cornish Ranger Presents Nerds Through Comics, where I'll be reading from popular comics from the past and the present. Stay tuned for more.
As they got to the scene, the lizard monster was on a police car laughing as he peered over the police officers who was hiding behind other vehicles. What do we do? Luca asked Dante. Dante looked confused at Chloe and Luca. Why asking me? Dante asked. We thought you'd be in charge, Chloe told him. Me? Dante responded with shock. Dude, you managed to sort out all this in 3 days. You kicked butt out there, and you know a lot about previous Rangers, Luca told him. Look, we need a leader. All Rangers have a leader, Chloe said with a smile. So lead us, dude, Luca muttered. Dante stood there for a few seconds and pondered this. Okay, I'll lead, Dante grinned. Well, 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 what have we here? The monster screeched. The 3 Rangers stood side by side as the lizard took several steps forward. You're back for more, are we? And you have someone new, the monster roared as he pointed at Luca. Hell yeah, I'm new, and you're screwed, lizard freak, Luca called out. We got you this time, lizard, Dante said. Oh yeah? And what's changed in a few hours, the lizard questioned. This time, we're a team, Dante grinned. Dante held out his morpher behind him. Chloe and Luca revealed their wrist-mounted morphers. Ready, guys? Dante yelled. Ready, Luca and Chloe responded. It's morphing time, Dante called out. Dante had out his morpher. Mastodon, he yelled. Luca crossed his arms in exclamation and then pressed his morpher. Time force, he called out. Chloe opened the mouthpiece of the morpher, then swung her arms to her side and pressed the button on the morpher. Dino Thunder, power up, ha, she called out. A flash of black, blue and yellow erupted from the teams. And then they stood there as Power Rangers. Mind Morphin, Black Ranger, Dante called out. Time Force, Blue Ranger, Luca called out. Dino Thunder, Yellow Ranger, Chloe called out. Enough with the Rainbow Parade. Can we fight now? The lizard growled. Bring it on, the Black Ranger said, as the three Rangers dived for the lizard, attacking him with his power axe, slashing down across the torso. The Blue Ranger jumped over the Black Ranger and swung his chrono sabers, hitting the lizard. The Yellow Ranger slid across the floor, passing her fellow Rangers as she jumped up and attacked the lizard from behind with her Botero grips. The lizard spun round, hitting the Yellow Ranger with its tail. At the same time, the lizard spat lightning at the Blue and Black Ranger. All three Rangers fell to the floor and quickly got back up and regrouped. Okay, I don't know how we tackle this freak. His skin is too strong against our blade weapons, the Black Ranger grunted. Boss man, if I may, the Blue Ranger asked. Sure, the Black Ranger gestured. What about our long-range weapons? The Blue Ranger suggested. Of course, the Black Ranger gasped. Let's try this out, the Blue Ranger said. He pressed his morph on his wrist, and suddenly a huge blaster, almost too big for him to wield, appeared in his hand. Holy, I forgot how big this thing is, the Blue Ranger said with shock. My turn, the Black Ranger said. He spun his axe upside down and slid the main chamber down to the bottom of the handle, turning it into a blaster. Oh yeah, this is real firepower, the Black Ranger yelled. I got an idea, called out the Yellow Ranger. She jumped towards the lizard and started gliding around with her wings as they were summoned. The lizard started spitting lightning blasts at the Yellow Ranger, missing all his attacks as the lightning flew past the Yellow Ranger. The lizard monster started getting angry. Stay still, the monster roared. What's the matter? Can't hit me? The Yellow Ranger teased as she flew around in circles. Stay still, the monster roared in anger once again. Okay, let's give this a go, the Black Ranger told the Blue Ranger. He ran at the lizard and shot several blasts at the lizard, hitting him every time. The lizard took several steps back as he was took off guard. The Black Ranger then jumped over the lizard whilst still hitting it with energy blasts. The lizard roared in pain and anger. Stop that, the lizard roared in a temper. What's the matter? Black Ranger asked with a cockiness to him. You think you can beat me? The lizard questioned. No, that'd be his job, the Black Ranger said, pointing behind the lizard. The lizard turned around to be greeted with the Blue Ranger with his big vortex blaster. Boo, the Blue Ranger muttered. Then he pulled the trigger. The energy blast flew and hit the lizard, sparks exploding off of him. All three Rangers stood there for a second and watched the lizard drop to the ground and explode into absolute nothing. The three Rangers regrouped, cheering. We did it, guys, the Black Ranger cheered. The three Rangers stood there, victorious. Now, somewhere beyond the fabric and time and space was a small dimension called the Land Without Time and Space. It's a small dimension where plants don't grow. Animals are nowhere to be seen. There were no plants, just massive-sized rocks floating around in deep space. The only human was William Cranston, sat there in his chair carved from rocks. Several magical screens were floating in front of him. He could see the new Rangers victorious. In front of William was a chessboard. The white pieces had different coloured bases. The black pieces had different shaped heads. On the board, the red-based and the yellow-based white pieces were in front of the rest, and the opposite them was a black piece with a lever-shaped head. Suddenly, a Power Ranger and a damaged knight teleported in. Is it done? William asked the Ranger. Yes, the two numbskulls we picked up from the future have gone through the mutant modifications, and it was complete success, the Ranger responded. Good, William said. William then picked a white piece and with a blue base and knocked over the lizard-headed black piece, then placed it next to the other two white pieces. Your plan is working, the knight asked. Yes, and your acting skills, might I say, are fabulous, William grinned. Thank you, master, the knight said with a slight bow. Now, what about the next ranger? William asked as he picked up another white piece, this one with a pink base, and placed it next to the 3 white pieces. She's exactly where you said she was, the knight said. Soon enough there'll be a new ranger, William told the knight. Yes, master, the knight responded. You know, the new mutants would not be ready yet. Send in the pirate, William commanded. As he placed one of the black pieces forward, the head was a skull with a pirate hat. Yes, my lord, the ranger bowed, and then both the ranger and the knight teleported away. William stood there and walked to the table in front of him. Was a clear white dino gem, the Triceratops power coin, and 2 of the ninja power stars, all laid across on a table, with a chest next to it. We are another step further in our plan, William whispered. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in to Chapter 5 of Power Rangers Future Foundation. I hope you guys enjoyed that chapter. Let me guys know in the comments down below what you guys are thinking of this series. And at some point, I'll be introducing more stories. I want to quickly shout out Zero to Hero Network and all the people across the Zero to Hero Network, aka Billy and Jim on the Zero to Hero podcast, the Balkan Scholar podcast. They're on Spotify and all other podcasts, audio places. They're absolutely brilliant dudes, and they're a lot of fun. Go check out the Zero to Hero podcast. I also want to shout out the Red Cornish Ranger, who his persona was mentioned in this chapter, and he's got a little podcast coming through, his own story like thing called Nerds Through Comics, and I'm actually going to have a small little voice actor role in it. Next up, I want to shout out the Unrachel Show Unleashed, another podcaster. You can all check out her on Spotify and all other places you can listen to podcasts. And lastly, I want to shout out Cosplay Dude 637, who does something very, very, very similar to this with his own stories and stuff, who I also mentioned his characters and Rachel's character in this chapter as well, and you can listen to all his stuff on Spotify. You can also find all these people on TikTok as well. So yeah, go check out everyone else. It's a lot of fun. So thank you guys for watching, or listening should I say, and I shall see you guys in the next chapter on Tiger Tales.